in South Fulton. That is why, we are able to, because we see the importance, be able to have the best engineer in the state and also the best architect, and also even a management company to make sure that the city of South Fulton, deserve the best development. Without taking much of the time, I'll go over to Michael, the engineer, to give us, the presentation on what we are asking for. It's just a modification of an existing site plan. So, Michael, you can go ahead.
Yes. So, and also on the call, we had the architect, Tim Sliger, and as well as the Councilwoman Linda Pritchett is here as well. So this is the front building elevation of the proposed mixed-use building along Jonesboro Road. We're proposing a zoning modification from a previous zoning case. So we're not requesting any change in the zoning district or classification, just amending current zoning stipulations that were on the site. The site was originally approved for a different site plan. We're proposing this site plan here. Let's scroll. There's the building laid out here, and then parking in the front as well as in the back. The building will consist of 36 one-bedroom apartments, 36 two-bedroom apartments, 8 professional lofts, 7 two-bedroom lofts, and 6,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space that will be split up between the two. We're also requesting 2 concurrent variances to grade in the zoning buffer. The site has some pretty extreme topo, so we're requesting to grade into the buffer to avoid proposing these large retaining walls, and we'll make sure to replant the buffer after disturb as well. If I can scroll through this, here's a couple more. Here's another building elevation. There's floor plans for the 1-bedroom apartment, which is approximately 600 square feet. Here's a floor plan for a 2-bedroom apartment, which is 1,000 square feet. And then we also have the floor plans for the 2-bedroom loft and the floor plan for the live work loft. These would be located along the front of the building so that anyone with like a professional service, like a hair stylist or nail salon or something like that, would operate in the front there in the live work area. Let me go back down to the building elevation. So you can see here's the restaurant and retail space laid out, and then apartments on the levels above it. So we're happy to answer any questions anyone may have, but this is our presentation for this mixed use building along Jonesboro Road that we're requesting a zoning modification and 2 concurrent variances for.
Thanks, Michael. This is Tim Sliger. I'm the architect with Hendrick. I just want to say a couple just quick things. Again, I mean, I think we're really focused on kind of the site plan approval, but kind of given a vision of what this could look like. So I'm obviously kind of excited about getting some community feedback on kind of the initial design. The thought here was kind of this merge between almost an urban archetype and then a kind of a suburban. So it kind of had this brick 4-story building that then kind of merges with this kind of a 3-story building sitting on top of a brick pediment. So I thought of it, it just felt like a really nice way to kind of integrate this kind of urban suburban kind of conflict. I don't know, let's call it just aesthetic in general. And so again, then the idea of trying to push in and out balconies and trying to, again, just create some kind of texture and kind of, let's call it interest along the elevation. And then as you can kind of see at the far back, that's where the live work professional loft would be again along this front face. There's actually the main kind of lobby for the apartments would be on that side as well. And then towards the left of this would be kind of the retail restaurant space underneath there. So that was just kind of the overall, architectural idea behind it. But yeah, any questions you guys have? I got actually a 3D model. I could spin you guys around more if you want to get more involved and actually see the model on all four sides. This only showed a couple sides of it if you're interested.
Yeah, let me stop the share and then if you don't mind sharing that.
Okay, yeah, hear me. All right, you can see my screen now.
Yes, yeah, we see your desktop. There it is.
All right, so let me, if I can lower this thing. All right, well, let's just slide down there. All right, so again, just kind of the general, let's go to this. So this is your main street elevation. So this is kind of the street elevation. So again, the idea that the live work lofts, the professional lofts are down here. Kind of see the entrance to the actual apartments would be in the center part. There's the drive-through space that goes from the front parking to the rear parking, and then kind of the retail restaurants over to the left side. And then again, you have kind of a mix of 1 and 2 bedrooms, kind of on these 3 levels above. And so if you kind of we spin around, going back to like this elevation, obviously you can kind of see how that there's an entry, emergency stair that's happened there, and kind of these balconies that come off this space. It's kind of the same general idea on the back, except for, let me zoom further out. A little bit less brick on the back side, kind of alternated a little fewer balconies as we're kind of mixing in different unit types. But the general kind of look is the same on the back side as you get on the front. Just a little bit more siding, a little bit less brick on this elevation. You kind of spin around. And so then again, we just kind of got a walkway, just a covered walkway to go from the back parking lot to the front parking lot. And that's kind of colonnade that happens on the side. And so again, we're trying to just add some architectural interest, again, add the balconies, get all the programmatic functions in there. Potentially looking at, do we kind of integrate a blade sign into where kind of the residence entry is going to be? So, it's just an idea of how you can start adding some signage to kind of these retail commercial components of it. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else specifically you guys would like to see, but that's just kind of a general, view of the model and kind of where we are.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
Okay, so I have questions.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I know you said this is mixed use. Is this mixed income as well, or nonprofit, or like a 50c3, or is it just regular market rate rent?
At this moment, it's regular market rate. We are looking at other options too, as time progress, to be able to have a certain percentage of affordable. So that's also an option that we are looking into. But as at this moment, it's going to be market rate.
And do you have an estimate of the rents?
The projection that we have right now for the 1 bedroom, I can quickly give that. And Philip, if you have it in front of you, but I can quickly click. Is for the 1 bedroom, the market rate right now is $1,850 per month. The 2 bedroom goes between $2,050. And because of the professional lots, and that's the main thing that we able to emphasize, is to make sure that this agreement of those professional lots will have stipulation that they must get a business license to operate. So it's not somebody just operating a business in that apartment. So all the 8 in the front are going to be required to also get a business license from the city. So, and that's have a good market rate of around 2,100 at this moment.
I had a question. So are these apartments general population, senior apartments, families with kids?
It's going to be family. Although it's a 1 bedroom, so 2-bedroom will only have 2 kids, a maximum of 4. We look into the options of the 55 up, but most people see it as an assisted living. So, and that is not the objective. So that's why we more or less throw down on that idea of making it just a 55 and up community. And also we have younger entrepreneurs, moving into that city. So we do not want to restrict their ability to be able to, live in a, luxury or a more decent apartment. One other thing we're able to do is to reduce the amount of amenities, apart from the basic, gym, so that people will be required to participate, in, they will be going out, to be able to take advantage of other businesses in the city also, instead of just, sitting down at home or in the apartment.
What type of reduced amenities?
We do have a gym, which is basic, and we have just a business center for the community use or for the apartment use. So it's a small 3,000 square foot, gym. So it's not something of a big, the whole community amenities is just 3,000 square foot.
Yeah, we're looking at the fitness center down here. This would be, again, kind of the office or the, it's called the shared kind of community room, conference room. And then the rest of it's just back of house, mail room. Again, that's the
And this
retail
will
on that
give the
side.
residents, will give the residents the ability to, participate in other, patronize other businesses or other services that is available in the community.
Yeah, I'm with Christian here. Where exactly is it going to be located if you do build?
Michael is
Michael, you want to go back to the
site plan?
your site plan? I don't have it on current one up. Sorry.
Is this the one that's right behind the McDonald's?
It's right across the street from the Wendy's and next to the church. Let me go over to
138.
138, yes.
Oh, okay.
Can you zoom out?
Yeah, there's where it's located on the vicinity map. So you got the subdivision back here, church to the right, that little shopping center with the sports bar and the parking lot. So it's at Jonesboro Road.
Now,
And it will be, the building will run, parallel to 138.
So
like
this
that.
is gonna be like in between like the nail shop, the new nail shop where the Bank of America used to be, and the church?
Yes.
Okay.
and these are luxury apartments?
Yeah, I believe the city deserves something better anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doubting your ability to make the apartments. It's just the plaza in front of it is a significantly high crime area.
yeah, but there's a new development coming up, which is the city police department around the corner too. So we are not looking at, now, let me put it that way, but we are looking at the new city and we are looking at the future of that city. The modification we are making right now is from an existing shopping plaza.
So is your apartment building going to be being erected around the same time as the police department?
Yes, as soon as we can start, once everything is in place, we plan to start as soon as possible on this.
Okay.
Because like I was saying, the existing site plan that we're seeking modification from is just a shopping, complex. And there are so many shopping complexes, even on Old National, that have been abandoned, so it's not wise, for anyone to be building a strip mall or a shopping complex at this time. We have to find a better use. We have to be able to bring more people into the community. And they are so, like I said, they are young entrepreneurs, they are young people that is looking forward to, with the proximity to the airport and to the proximity to all these manufacturing, warehouse. There are people looking forward to move, young couples that are looking forward to move to the city of South Fulton.
So will these be owner managed or will they be managed by a property management company?
It's going to be owner managed. Like you said, we are small. We have one development here in Marietta. Although it's not an apartment, it's just an office suite. So we've been managing, but we work in conjunction with an external management company. But most of the staffs are going to be in-house.
So your rents, being priced, the price that you gave for the rents, what will be your income requirement? Are you 2 times the rent or 3 times the rent?
If it's going to be based on the market, will require what the market requires. But like I said, we're looking into the options of having a certain percentage of the units affordable also. So if we go that route, depending on what options, what loan requirements is made available to us, that is also something that we will look into to make it more affordable. The total unit is about 89, so it's a small number of units. It's about 87 in
I have a
total.
question. So what made you all come up with this location? Because I know that there is a vacant building that's on 138, like almost right by the new police department. There's a vacant, like eyesore building there. What made you all not want to knock that down and build there? What came about this particular location?
Um, I don't know the situation of that building, whether it's zoned for that or whether it can be used, but I've owned this, vacant lot for over 3 years now. And the property tax is not is not cheap. Let me put it that way. It's difficult to sell, so there have to be a development on it. The property tax is running over more than 18,000, about 17,000 per year. That is a lot, to be paying every year on a vacant lot. So I was seeking some investors, they look at the shopping mall, like I said earlier. If we are to put anything that I don't have to do anything, we don't have to call this meeting, it's just to put what is already approved for. We're not going to be going to go back to having maybe 5 years from now or 2 years from now, another abandoned, shopping complex. So I look into the new development that was coming up, which is the police department. I look at every other thing in that area. The closest apartment to this, which is so old, is on the other side of the highway. And, discuss with my wife, my son is also on the call, we look at everything together and we decide that, the best option for this place would be to have, a small 1-2 bedroom apartment and still be able to incorporate, because that is what is going on in every new cities. They are trying to have a modern way of bringing the young, the single and have a live work kind of apartment. So it's something that we believe that the city, is new. We need more people to come into the city to be able to patronize those businesses that are already there. So we see it as something that is viable for us as an investment rather than going for a strip mall or anything that has to do with just commercial.
So I had a question back again to the rents. So the 1 bedroom will be going for the 1850. So the standard, I guess, you have to make at least 3 times the rental amount. So that would mean you would be leasing that 1 bedroom. The person would have to be making about $5,550 monthly. The 2 bedroom, they need to be making $6,150 monthly. That's if you use the industry standard of 3 times your rent. So that's what I was kind of asking. Will you take that down lower to maybe 2 times or 2.5 times the rental amount? Also, I had a question about parking.
Yes.
Will there be enough parking to accommodate the retail spaces and the residential spaces?
Yes. In terms of the ×2 for the rent, that can be lowered. There's option for that. And like I said, we are also looking into having more of that affordable option in there, whether it's going to be 10% that is allowed, 20%, but it's something that, we take higher priority to be able to, provide. In terms of the parking, we do have enough parking based on the calculation that we have right now for the retail and also for the residents. That's why we have a design that, all the residential parking will be in the back, the residence parking, and the front will be for the retail. And the additional,
will you offer, will there be like a secured option for the parking? Like some of the loft buildings downtown in town, like Atlantic Station, a lot of people are familiar with like 12, that's secured parking. So it's difficult for, because it's not a house, a home where they have garage parking. But will it be a garage option so that their cars can be secured? Because as someone else mentioned before, that the crime kind of, in the area. So would this be creating another, like these are higher income, possibly people that would draw, people, wanting to damage cars or break into cars or something like that. So would the parking offer a secured option for the residents?
yeah, in anything, there's still going to be more having the courtesy officer, the security on the premises will provide every, available option. There's no covered parking. There's no garage. We can always have the option to make the back. Like I said, the back is only for the residents. There's going to be patrol, of course, to make the place more secure. Maybe I'm just optimistic. I'm somebody that thinks, looks into the future or not looks into the future. I always believe that some things can be temporary now, which is not going to defer us from taking care of the city. The crime that is going on, even Bucket at this moment, is even terrible with breaking, and that is Bucket. So, yeah, so there's breaking going on in Bucket every day, but people still go over there to live. I see that, we should be forward looking. I migrated to this country, back in 2000. When I moved to this country, the only thing I have in my pocket is just $1,000 into this country. So I see the opportunities, I see the development. I look at South Fulton, well located, if the residents do not believe that they can do better or they have the potential, they're not going to apply for Citywood. That's the way I look at it. look at the community as this is going to be a good community, and we shouldn't, base our judgment on the crime that is going on right now, which, like I said, the police department is coming up, which is going to be a great department. The whole of Old National, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I've been there, even during the housing market or the financial crisis, the whole place is terrible. But the whole place is coming up now. There are new businesses coming in, the over Evander Holyfield is Chris Loss is around the corner. That development, everything is changing, and I'm hopeful that this development is going to change the dynamics. But to answer your question, we'll surely provide on-patrol security to make sure the residents are secure for their safety. Does that answer the question? Or?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with you too. I agree with you. I think it's a great, it seems to be a great concept. And I think, we have to think positive and look, towards the future. It's a great location, as far as us being close to the airport. So yeah, I do. But I did have one more question. How are you going to, so since you're doing in-house management, what are your I guess your goals about securing for those professional spaces? Like something that will, like are you looking for a grocery? I know that's one thing, like, maybe a boutique grocer or, something that will attract that high-end clientele. Do you have any plans about, who's your ideal retailers for those spots?
Yes, we've been talking to a couple of, retail restaurants, and that's why if you look at the retail space, it's 6,000. So we did not, try to divide it and specify, okay, 2,000 for the restaurant, 4,000 for this. Is an open floor that we're really looking forward to have, the, the best business, something that will encourage people to patronize. Also, those lofts in the front, like I said earlier, the requirement or the stipulation is for them to make sure they have a business license. They are going to be professional lofts for realtor, lawyers, accountants, can easily move there, makeup artists, hair artists, business that can bring, there are so many things that these generations are doing now, that they need a small retail space to be able to, drive the traffic. So I think that will also be part of our objective, is to make sure that, the tenants, taking that space, are tenants that, can bring in, people into the community. Yeah, does that answer that? Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see how it plays out. I hope that it can come into fruition.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening. This is Mayor Pro Tem Linda Pritchett. Thank you for your presentation. And I have a question. How many acres of land does this sit on, this property?
4.1.
Yeah, I think that's right. Let's see. It is 4.11 acres.
Okay. And I guess looking in the chat, a few people seem to have a few additional questions.
Yeah, let's see. Abdul, can you see those?
No. Let me see.
I can ask my question if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I was I asked them the questions, based on the cost of the apartments, when the homeowner require certain amenities such as like certain grocery stores, as was mentioned before, or parks nearby, options to having, healthy food services, things like that. Those are things that you look for when you are paying like your standard rate for an apartment.
Yeah. So you mean the question is seeking a retail that will be able to provide those service?
Well, a lot of times, not just, of course, you want to bring more people to the area, but just creating homes many times isn't enough to bring people to the area. And so,
Yes.
and so there have to be something in addition to the homes, that doesn't just mean like lawyers and doctors or things like that, but things that are family oriented. If you are trying to draw families in, such like I said, someone mentioned before the high crime rate, and things that decrease crime a lot are green space and parks. So I believe that's the main point of my question is, are we going to be adding parks to the area or something of that nature to attract the type of customer that it seems as though you're looking for?
I think I can answer a part of that question.
Okay.
Across the street where the police headquarters will go, there
Mm-hmm.
is going to be a linear park there. There will be a linear park. There will be a 2,500 square foot community slash senior center or senior activity center building.
Mm-hmm.
So those two things will be there as far as your answering your question about parks and activities. And
That's wonderful.
we're really excited about that. We're also I think that Chief Meadows also mentioned that we will be having a like a meeting place for people to say safely exchange their children or safely make purchases online. There was a shooting that happened in that parking lot of Tri-County Plaza, and it was as a result of two parents exchanging their child and new spouse, old spouse, and it turned into a shootout. So hopefully there will be safe exchange, and also maybe like a kiosk for people to safely be able to retrieve their Amazon packages and things like that. So the police headquarters is definitely going to bring a lot of safety, innovation, accessibility. It'll also be where our court building, our municipal court will be housed. So it's going to probably be very exciting when that comes up. But I will let the gentleman continue answering your question.
And I
Thank
no,
you.
I
That's
really
sorry.
do thank you. Thank you very much for that. I
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you
that,
for
Mayor Pro Tem, because
answering.
Oh,
that pretty much answered my question. And I'm very excited about that as well, because you letting us in on that helps out a lot. I think with the price that was stated, many of us didn't understand how we would attract that type of clientele without that being there. But you're saying that is incoming, and that is wonderful. Thank you.
and I also want Mr. Abdul to know that on the Old National Corridor, particularly District 7, you have a lot of engaged and involved community members. So I am very excited about this high participation of the community. That lets you know that you have some high expectations to meet, and you have people
Yes.
that will be watching and will be visiting. And I also want to acknowledge that we have our newly elected state representative Robert Dawson on this call. So we all work very closely together, and we're really, grateful to be able to come here and see this presentation.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Yeah. Thank you. Shaki, do you have anything to say?
No, I don't. But hello, my name is Shaquille Kokomo. I'm Abdul's son. I just wanted to say hello to everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate this participation, the input. Like I said earlier, all these are going to be put into consideration. I do see this development as something that's positive for the city, and look forward to get it started. Question. Okay, yeah, so that would be answer. Any other questions or comments?
I think there's someone asking, will there be covered parking?
No. Okay, yeah.
I had one more question. Would you happen to have an idea of the lease terms for the professional lofts? Are you looking, well, the professional, I guess the area, the retail area, are you looking for 3-year, 5-year, what type of leases are you, looking to
Yeah,
have
for the
in
major
those areas?
retail, yeah, for the major retail, like the restaurant, the big one will be 3 years, 5 years, at least 5 years for most business. For the live work, it's just going to be the regular 1 year lease that
Okay.
apply to the resident. The only stipulate, like I said, is for them to, we just don't want people using that opportunity to be taking business and working from home without getting a license. So we're going to make sure that those that are occupied are actual professionals or people running a business, and they must get additional approval from the city for their business license.
Councilwoman
And
Pritchett.
those are going to be. Yeah, go ahead.
Councilwoman Pritchard, I have a question if it's appropriate to ask now.
Sure.
Okay, great. I know that I can see that 87 units is not a huge number of units to add, but that intersection of 138 and National Highway is a very, there's a lot of heavy traffic, and we've had some horrendous accidents there. And I just wanted to know if it was necessary to do a traffic study for this project. And if it was, and if it was done, what did it yield? What findings did it yield? Thank you.
I can't profess to be an expert on all things zoning to the extent that I believe a traffic study is only necessary when you're looking at having a traffic calming device installed, like a traffic light or flashing lights or other mechanisms. And because Highway 138 and Old National have a traffic light there, I don't believe that a traffic study was required, but the gentleman can answer that because out of the requirements in his packet to the city, he can confirm whether or not a traffic study was done or was necessary. But I don't think that it is.
Yeah, there was not one required, and per the city application, we're just not a large enough development to trigger one. I don't remember the unit count off the top of my head, but I want to say it was. I want to say it was closer to 200 units that were, or like 100,000 square feet of commercial space, I believe is what triggered a traffic study.
Okay, well, I've got you on. Was there an environmental impact study as well?
That
Required
was not
or done?
required either. And that's
Okay.
just due to the scale of the development.
Okay, thank you.
And we also work with the Georgia DOT on the turning, everything that is required on that side with the Georgia Department of Transportation.
Yeah, we're in the process of coordinating with them for that access and decel lane.
And just out of curiosity, does anyone know the walkability score of that area at this point in time?
I know I'm not sure about a specific score, but I know on the other side of the road there is a sidewalk. We are proposing a sidewalk. It's not shown on this site plan for some reason, but per the city code, we're required to add a sidewalk for future connections to tie into. That was something the city mentioned on our pre-application call. So we'll have a sidewalk along our frontage, and then we'll leave, on the left and the right somewhere for someone in the future to tie into.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello. Also curious, just in terms of environmental considerations, if you all have any plans or anything on your radar to kind of minimize environmental footprint as you're working on this project?
Yeah, so one good thing for the stream in the back is the city actually has more stringent stream buffer requirements than is typical in the state of Georgia. So typically you don't have 100-foot impervious buffer. It's only it's usually 50 feet. So their stream buffers are doubled. So we're protecting the stream kind of extra compared to pretty much any other city in Georgia. And as well as providing zoning buffers to the north and to the east to have some green space and some trees back there. We'll also have an underground attention system to capture and treat the stormwater, and it will be released over a period of time to not wash the stream out.
And I'm sorry, what kind of system did you call that again?
Underground stormwater system. So we don't have room for an above ground pond. So the pond that's typically required that you would see, inside like a fence, will actually be underground in this parking lot.
So is there a maintenance that's required for that underground water system, and how will that cost be absorbed?
Yeah, the city requires you to record a stormwater maintenance agreement. So the owner has to maintain the stormwater system over time. They're typically pretty low maintenance. So they if anything, you just have to clean debris, like whatever would wash down the storm drain, like if there's any trash or anything that happens to get down there, just needs to be cleaned out.
So I have another question about the water, the drainage. I actually live in the subdivision close to there, and we have drainage issues in our subdivision. Will that affect any of the surrounding, will it tie into, is there going to be, will there need to be an adjustment of the existing systems that are in place for the subdivisions that are surrounding, and will that cause will that kind of weigh heavily on the other ones that are already existing, or is it a separate system altogether?
Yeah, it'll be a separate system altogether. The good thing about this side is we have a stream in the back that we can discharge our outflow from the underground system. So we're not tying directly into anyone's stormwater infrastructure. So we won't be tying into anyone's pipe or structures. And between now and our public hearing, I can look into to see where the stream flows as well. And we always look at the downstream properties and do an analysis on that as well.
Thank you.
I have a
Alright.
question.
Yeah.
I just moved from LA and I know what you're talking about. LA got a lot of that stuff, a lot of buildings like that, retail, downstairs and all that good stuff. And then sometimes those places don't be fully occupied by retailers. But so to get their money, they put like anything in there just to pay for that space. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they might put unprofessional businesses in the building, and you know what I'm trying to say, and that draws negative energy as well. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I do. And this will not be the case here. We're very strict or not very strict. I do go for, the best. Like I said, it's a positive development, and we're going to do everything to make sure that, we have the right tenants. That's very important. We have the right, commercial activities. It's not just having filling up the space, in any
Right.
development, you want a good tenant, you want a good, responsible, a long-term tenant. You want their business also to prosper. So you just don't want to put anybody there. So it's something that, will make sure that everything is, I can assure you about that.
Okay. So basically it's just gonna be something like health foods, like little stores like that, that sell health foods and that type environment. Because I know where you're coming from, because LA has a lot of that and it's successful, but some of them, sometimes, some of those buildings is like, they just go ahead and just put anything in there just to get that rent money or whatever the case may be. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there'll be some things that work in LA will not work here, of course. Like I said, we go through the business, we make sure the first goal is to have a national, well-known
Right.
business. That'll be the first
Oh,
target.
okay.
And
Okay, I
that's
got you.
always the ultimate target, to be able to have, a good chain to occupy that
Right.
space, and something that
Okay,
will bring, the traffic into that community. And that would be
oh,
the utmost objective, is to be able to put the best tenant.
okay, I got you. Because we definitely don't need no more nail shops or nothing like that. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one next door anyway. So
Oh, okay. All right. It's all good. Thank you so much.
thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any question, comment?
I think there's a question in the chat about if there'll be elevators to get people to different loft levels.
Oh, yes. Not the loft levels. So the elevator is for the first, second, and the third floor. Is that the question? But those individual lofts only have stairs. Is that the- Michael, do you want to show the floor plan for the lofts?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two elevators in the apartment that serve 2 through 4. One's One's a service elevator that would be for move-ins, move-outs. It's a little bit larger. And there's a smaller one just for convenient, just to make sure 70 plus. I mean, if you hit the right time, it can get pretty busy. People moving up and down. And then again to the lofts, that's all internal. There's just an internal stair. There's no elevator for the loft.
Okay. I got another question. Is parking, is that gonna be an extra charge to the rent as well for parking for people?
Yeah, is included.
Oh, okay. Cause
Yeah.
like I say, some places would charge extra just for, for parking as well.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I have one more question. Do you all have it plotted in to have like ADA compliant units within the building or?
I mean,
Yes, you would. Typically it's 5%, so it'd be like 3 units. It's not a lot, but yes, we would probably do 1 per floor.
Gotcha.
There's another chat question.
Typically, there'll be a card access to get into the building, if that answers the question. And like I said, there'll going to be courtesy officer or on-site, private security patrol just for the surrounding. But it's not going to be gated, but to access the building is going to be card access. Did I answer the question? Ms. Robinson? Okay. Any question? For the completion, yeah, like I said, we're hoping to start as soon as possible but we projecting early next year or late this year for the completion. This is one thing we want to get, off the table as soon as possible. So early 2026 latest. Yeah.
I just wanted to say also, one thing about this, and my father has explained, like Jonesboro is one of these areas, in my opinion, especially people of my age group. I'm 24, 25, and upwards towards like 30, 40, that age group where they're kind of expanding out in Atlanta and like Metro Atlanta, and Jonesboro is starting to be one of those places that is starting to get more populated, with people who don't want to live in the city but still want to be kind of in that area. Like, for example, people who like have jobs that, don't want to be in Buckhead or can't afford Buckhead. But they still want to kind of be fairly close to the city, fairly close to the airport. A lot of people are kind of migrating to Jonesboro, kind of South Fulton area. So I feel like this also is like development wise for Jonesboro, something in addition to the area. So, well, again, I agree. This is like a great project, for what, some people do envision in Jonesboro. My dad has explained to me that they will be building like a police like set a station center around the area. So I think, and in terms of like security and things of that nature, I think this is.
Yes, thank you so much. I think there's a question about supporting business. Yeah, the council mentioned about the park and other development around. I don't know if that's in line with the question. Being asked, does that answer the question or? Okay, will there be a rooftop? No.
Yeah, I'll jump in. We did look at that and evaluate it very quickly, if that was possible. But the reality is the cost of construction to support a rooftop, in this case, in particular, like an assembly and amenity deck, would just make that cost of construction really expensive for that portion of it. Plus, we'd lose units, which in essence would drive up prices. So yeah, so right now we're not anticipating a rooftop pool or rooftop amenity space.
Okay. Yeah, just to answer the question about the building itself is misuse. So as we stated, we'll try as much as possible to have, businesses is about 11,000 square foot, no, no, about 14,000 square foot of retail space. Yeah, so that's a lot for new business in that building itself. So other business will be surrounding business in that community. Um, okay. So, what makes it largely if no parking deck or cover parking or roof access? The amenities itself is largely, the finishing of those units. Is new, is modern. So compared to, like I said, down the road, most of the apartments they are 20, 30 years old building. So this is new to the community and is modern. We cannot really define, those based on just, the covered parking or the parking deck. The parking is available to the residents, which is also an added, they don't have to pay for that. So that's also an added advantage to those that lives there. Yeah. Ms. Robinson, you okay with that or?
Yeah, so thanks everyone for joining the meeting. Guys, if there's no more questions, we'll kind of wrap it up and hope to see y'all at the public hearing. And I hopefully everyone received the postcard with the dates for the upcoming public hearing. But if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to the email I can drop my email in the chat, and you could reach out with any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Michael.
Yep.
Okay, you put in your email there. Okay. Yeah, and if there's any question, yeah, feel free to email Michael. If anything I have to answer also, you can add my email if you need to.
Yep. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you, State Representative, for taking your time to attend also. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks all. Very good.
All right. Everyone have a good night.
Have a good night. Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
You too. All right. Bye.